Now, Nelson Mandela's heroic struggle for freedom, justice and human dignity has made him a powerful source of inspiration throughout the world, a trait that touched and continues to touch people from all walks of life. Among those is Mona al Qazzaz. She's an Egyptian activist, a PhD student studying in the UK, and we have her in studio with us this morning. It's good to have you, Mona. Thank you very much for being on Morning Live.
Thank you very much for having me.
What inspired you about Mandela?
Mandela is not a symbol only for South Africans. He's a symbol for all Africans and for humanity. I came on a delegation actually representing the Egyptian people coming in to pay our final respects to Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela, a heroic figure who was able to give up for his country, for freedom, for equality and for human rights. And he inspired me personally to fight against oppression and dictatorship in 2011 against Mubarak, and also now the Egyptians are fighting against another military oppression happening now in 2013 under the Sisi regime.
Yeah, so from, you can kind of relate very much so to the battles that Mandela through his life fought to get freedom to the people. I mean, that's really what he stood for, and I think that's why he's so loved, especially by South Africans, but the rest of the continent has that much respect as well.
The rest of the world actually has so much respect for Mandela. Mandela is a freedom fighter for Africa. During the dictatorship, Mubarak was trying to cut the Egyptians and North Africa region from our links with Africa. Straight after the revolution, South Africa has been a great support under the leadership of the ANC and under the inspiration of Mandela for us to reconnect our ties as Egyptians, as Africans, and to join our struggle for equality and dignity and reconciliation as Egyptians with the South Africans and with the whole of Africa.
Yeah. You say that Egyptians are indebted to the great support the ANC has given to the Egyptian people in their struggle towards a democratic reform. How so?
Straight after the revolution of 2011 against Mubarak dictatorship, the ANC was very supportive in helping us to write a constitution post a dictatorship, as you guys were able to write a constitution post-apartheid. And this is one of the strongest links we have between Egyptians and South Africans. I just would like to add, for example, the Soweto uprising in 1976. We're seeing nowadays in Egypt, although it's not under the spotlight of media, we're seeing similar uprising nowadays in Egypt post the military coup. And South Africa has been very, very supportive for the Egyptians now against the struggle against this military dictatorship and this military coup. And obviously South Africa and the African Union has taken a very clear stance against the military coup in Egypt, and by suspending Egypt's seat in the African Union, whereas even the European Union were unable to take such a strong stance for democracy and for human rights like the African Union did.
Yeah. I imagine that African leaders are looking at Mandela and at his legacy, and one of the biggest criticisms of African leaders is that they hold on to power for too long, whereas we saw what Madiba did, one term and he ended it. Is this something that again can be learnt and echoed by many of our leaders on the continent?
Madiba has so much to teach for generations to come. Madiba is a father for freedom, is father for democracy, and so as South Africa has so much lessons for us to learn as Egyptians and for humanity. I just would like to echo, for example, my brother has been kidnapped for the past 6 months. We don't know where he is, and it was by a criminal regime. I can actually relate with the South African people who Mandela has stayed for 27 years behind bars, and there are Egyptians nowadays, thousands of them, are still behind the bars, and we're suffering the same. It's exactly the same feeling. It's the same feeling of resistance against oppression and resistance against dictatorship and resistance against for our freedom of opinion and freedom of assembly. So I believe there's so much in common between the Egyptians and the South Africans, and I've come here because my brother, if he was out, he would have come here and he would have come to pay final respects to this great hero, Nelson Mandela.
Yeah. Well, let's leave it there, and it's always nice to hear how the African continent, and it doesn't matter which part of the African continent you come from, the lessons that are learnt, and people still taking the example of Mandela and what he stood for to such an incredible level. Thank you for being with us. us. Thanks for stopping by to talk to us. I know that the Egyptian delegation was here in the country to pay their respects from Friday to the family and to the government here in South Africa. Mona al Qazzaz, an Egyptian activist, PhD student who is currently residing in the UK. All right, let's get you some sports news now. Valen, it's over to you.
Thank you very much, Lian. Very good morning to you. Let's start with cricket news. South Africa will be looking to make the most of the new ball in the first session this morning as India returned to the crease on 255 for 5. Virat Kohli's score of 119 for the visitors was the highlight of the first day of the first test between India and the Proteas at the Wanderers.
It was going to be a test of character for India's young batsmen on the bouncy South African pitches. And Dale Steyn probed opening batsman Shikhar Dhawan with a number of short pitch deliveries. Steyn got the breakthrough in the 9th over when Dhawan mistimed a pull shot and was caught by Imran Tahi for 13. Morne Morkel, who had the other opener Murali Vijay in trouble on several occasions, finally got his man when his delivery found the outside edge of the Indian batsman's bat. On 24 for 2, the visitors looked to be in trouble, but Chetashwa Pujara and Virat Kohli rebuilt the innings with an entertaining third-wicket stand of 89. Kohli was Xavier on Tahir. It was India's first test since the retirement of Sachin Tendulkar. Kohli took the number 4 spot vacated by the Little Master and did admirably well.
That's number 5. Well played, Virat Kohli.
This great knock was ended by Jack Callis, who had Kohli caught by JP Dumini for a well-played 119. Ajinkya Rahane and skipper MS Dhoni will resume the innings, and going into the second day, India will be happier of the two teams. Thabo Daniels, SABC News.
Moving on to football news now. Ajax Cape Town bounced back from a goal down to claim a 2-1 win over Bloemfontein Celtic in their absolute